Well, greetings, everyone. It's very good to virtually see you here for TESOL International Association's virtual convention for 2024. We are very grateful that you have come in and taken the time to hear from others from around the world, sharing about their work in English language teaching, supporting the profession, supporting learners, supporting families, wherever they are around the globe. My name is Jeff Hutchison with TESOL International Association, and I welcome everyone to our session today entitled Advocacy for English Language Teachers. And this is a conversation today with Tanzania English Language Teaching Association, or TELTA, as we will say. So welcome everyone to our presentation. I have with me Catherine Njau, who is the regional coordinator and Fulbright alumni for the Tanzania English Language Teachers Association, or TELTA. I know that's a long title to put together, so TELTA makes it a little bit easier for that. Again, my name is Jeff Hutchison. I am the Director of Advocacy and Public Policy for TESOL International Association. And one of the joys of my work is that I get to interact with our members and those people that are associated with, the members of affiliates from around the world, to talk about what they're doing in support in their advocacy, lifting up learners, lifting up themselves, lifting up the profession. And so today we have this special opportunity to talk with Catherine here to learn a little bit more about what she's doing. But first, let's learn a little bit more about Catherine. So Catherine, welcome. Please provide us a little introduction and tell us a little bit about what regional coordinator and Fulbright alumni. Tell us a little bit about you.
Wow, thanks so much, Jeff, for the great and beautiful introduction. My name is Catherine Njau. I'm an English teacher in Tanzania, and also I'm a TELTA regional coordinator in Kilimanjaro region. I've been serving in this position for 6 years, and I'm the one who has been benefited by having a Fulbright alumni in 2023 and being able to travel in USA and attending the scholarship of the Fulbright in Chico University in California. I was so happy today to be with you, sharing what I have been doing in Tanzania as an advocate. And I'm so happy that, Jeff, we have been able to make this happen to us. And I'm so happy to engage in this discussion. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Catherine. I tell you what, I'm just as happy to have you with this and being able to participate in this, and especially to learn more. But before we go in, you said you were a Fulbright alumni in California last year. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. And what
yes.
was the university again that you were working with?
Chico University in California.
Chico University.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Well, what were some of the things that what was the big highlight for you as a Fulbright participant there at Chico University?
The great things which highlight me to be at Chico University is to learn different teaching methodologies, and also being able to connect with the different scholars in different parts of the world, sharing our experience and how well we can be coming back and making the commitment of supporting our community to help our students and our fellow teachers to grow professionally. Then when I was engaging in those classes, I feel that I'm lucky because I feel so happy to have different strategies and skills that can help me to bring the new changes in my country.
Wow, that is wonderful. That to hear that that you took in the experience and the interaction with people from all over, you were gaining knowledge and then bringing that knowledge back in support of professionals. And that actually is Catherine, that is a fantastic segue transition here as we talk about what advocacy is here. Because I often find in my role, and maybe you do too, that in the United States, advocacy can mean something usually around laws, public laws and support. But when I talk with people, not just in the United States, but around the world, advocacy is so much more. I think advocacy is really the heart and soul of what we do as educators. No matter where we are, whether we're I'm here, I live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, United States. So I'm between New York City and Washington, D.C. And, we have advocacy that we do here locally. I get to talk with with my legislators. I get to talk with other educators, but then I love going out and talking with the members and attendees and people that are in the classrooms, working with families and working with each other and just to hear their stories. And so advocacy is so much more. It's such a big word here that, and I love how this little word cloud here talks about some of this. You got support and action. And I love the word about having a voice, or sometimes being that voice, whether it's the voice of learners or their families, and bringing that energy and enthusiasm, the same energy and enthusiasm you gained while you were in Chico, bringing that back out, a wonderful, amazing opportunity. So before we go any further, I mean, with that experience that you've had, when I say the word advocacy, what does that mean to you, Catherine?
Thanks so much, Jeff. The word advocacy to me is mean to volunteer and to supporting each other to grow professionally. As an English teacher, I find that to help my learners to know their position and how they can move from that stage to another stage, even though they are facing some of the challenges within. And I find the solution of helping them to understand some of the challenges, their normal challenges in their life. That is my advocacy to me. I can say that my advocacy to me also is to be passionate, to speak, and to make the voice to be heard, to stand in front of others who they cannot be able to speak about the things which they're facing them, the challenges, the situation that they are reaching in, then to make them to be heard around the world. So I feel to be advocates is to volunteer. Advocates is to submit and use your own time without counting how much you are losing it, but is to use your efforts and your skill that you have to make sure that other people, they can benefit, then they can be engaging also in making an advocacy. So that is what I can say that is advocacy, I know. And once I talk about TELTA, TELTA is our association, which is Tanzanian English Language Teachers Association, that help us to grow professionally. So through advocacy, by doing different projects, we can find that many teachers who are staying in remote areas, they didn't know about all of this. They did not know how they can grow professionally. By once we started to advocate by moving in those remote areas, train teachers and engage them in the professional development, they find themselves, they have got something which is very unique and they can be able to do it in their community. And most of the time, during the past time, teachers, they feel that to stay in the classroom and concern about only teaching, that is what they're supposed to do. But as a teacher, we need to expand our ideas and views that it's not only teaching the subject you are being assigned by the government or by the private school to do that. You need to focus in different issues that you can advocate others to be able to stand and to solve their different problems that they can occur within their teaching process. And for the learners, when they grow from one stage to another, you can be able to solve their problem also and to help them to grow and to be the good people in the future.
Oh, Catherine, I love that. And I just realized I actually did not have my screen up here with this what is advocacy, this word cloud. I referenced that. And I think you have hit many of these words in here. And I was writing down some of the words that you were saying about volunteer and challenges and bringing your skills and resources to that support. It's great to hear of your passion. I think that was one of the other words that you used in your definition about bringing your passion in that support and lifting those voices up and being a benefit to society and especially what TELTA is doing there and what you're doing. And we're going to learn a little bit more about some specifics of the advocacy work that you're doing there in Tanzania. So I'm excited to hear that. And before we get into that, I just want to give a quick little overview here of some of the things that we see in advocacy at TESOL about what is it that people are looking at, what causes, what support, what areas that they can do. And I know that you're going to hit on some of these areas specific in what you do at TELTA, but this was just a look a couple of years ago. We did a survey we had, I think we had about 47 different countries represented in this survey about some of the things that English language teachers, English language educators were looking at as advocacy priorities. So it ranged all over. There were language policy, work issues, student rights was right up there at the top. And some of the big ones were professional development. And I know that those are a couple of areas that you work on when you support your teachers, but also the teachers that are supporting in the community. And I just want to stop the screen share there, because I think this is really back to you and what you're doing, and the projects that you have at TELTA, the advocacy work that you're doing. Because one thing when I know that we're working in the classroom and we think about education and we think about access to learning, but there's so much more in that ecosystem. We've got health issues, financial issues, hygiene issues, other things that it's the whole ecosystem of what our learners engage in. And so it's not always just about the curriculum and the context. There are many other things happening. So tell us a little bit. Excuse me, you were sharing a little bit earlier about some of the wonderful things that TELTA is doing that really encompass the whole student, the whole educator, the whole ecosystem. Tell us a little bit about some of your advocacy programs and what you have working there in TELTA.
Wow, thanks so much. As I was joined to be a TELTA member, it was 2016 at the first time when I was being a member for TELTA. But before that, I was helping my students to improve their speaking English in our schools. The great problem that we are facing that most of our learners, they are not using English language as the language of learning in primary school. So when they come to secondary school, it is very difficult for them to use English language in secondary school. So that was the starting point where I was starting to volunteer, using my own personal time to help my students to improve their speaking skills. Then I established English Club, which is existing until today. And after the classes, I help those students to stay in one room, and we discuss how we can improve our public speaking, and we try to use different methods that can help us to develop our confidence and be able to speak on the front of others. So we did different activities during that time. So as a teacher, I found that I still have a time after classes that I can utilize that time to serve the community, to serve the learners. And instead of going home, I still have a spare time that I can use helping my learners to be comfortable learning English language in this environment.
If I may, Kath, I just want to ask real quick about that, this public speaking club. How many of your students, did all of them come in and participate? Did you have some great speeches coming in? Share a story or two from that. That sounds exciting.
No, I will select some of the students who are interested in speaking, and we create a club, because at that time we have more than 8,000 students in a school, so that is a big number for them to be in one room. So we pick some of the students, we choose some of the students from each class to represent their classes, their fellow students in one room. Then we discuss together and we try to find different methods that can help us to use English publicly.
Oh, that sounds great. Sounds great. Well, thank you for sharing that. And my apologies, I interrupted you just for a second. Please continue. You were going to share a little bit more about that club before I asked the question. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks so much. So when I found that I have an extra time, then I continue doing that activity since that 2011. And during that time is when I was very close with the students. So I started to realize the challenges girls are facing. I find that most of the girls, they cannot come to the school eventually. They try to use even their time to be back home. Once they come back to school, they can stay for the few minutes, for the few hours, and be able to decide to go back home. And I was being accepted as a matron of the school. Then I was talking with the girls, and during that time is when I was trying to ask them why they are being back home while the classes is going on. And during the English club, then I didn't saw some of the students who come into the class. So I started to ask them. So when I asked it, that is when I realized that many girls, they don't have menstrual pads that can help them to stay at school. They don't have this product that can help them to stay at school. Then I started to, yes.
So this was a health reason for them. So something to help them with their life. Okay. So there was a missing there. So you saw a need. You saw a need. Wonderful.
Yes. So I started to sell. I started to take the package of disposable pad and put it in my office. Then when a girl come to my office and asking to go back home, I said, no, you should not go home. I'm going to give this pad. So you're going to use this, and then you should go back to the class. So by looking on this, we find that I find that that was a great challenge for girls. So I try to think another way, that how we can bring this awareness to them so that they can understand to be in a period is not a ticket for them to stay at home and not be at the class. So that time I was also being able to volunteer as a counterpart, working together with a previous Peace Corps who was here in my school, Raya Wena. Then we worked together during that time, and I shared this story with her. And she told me that if this is a problem, let us think the way that we can help these girls to stay at school and feel comfortable. Is when she exposed me to the production of reusable sanitary pads. And I was being able to attend one of the workshops in Dar es Salaam, that is the big city here in my country. And the training was being facilitated by the organization known as Huru International Organization in Kenya. So I attended that workshop, and for me, it was a great workshop which opened my eyes, and to see that now I'm in the good way of providing these advocacy to help girls to stay at school and enjoy their classes the same as boys. So when they came back,
if I would, I just want to highlight very quickly, because this is such an important part. You know, a lot of times we think about advocacy and we think, I can't help somebody because I don't know. But here you saw that there was an issue that the girls were having that was keeping them from education. And you went out, you found an ally, you found someone else to support, and you got your own education. You went to this workshop with the organization so that you could be a better advocate. And I just think that is of such an important point that you took, and you advocated for yourself to make sure that you could help them. And I just love that point. I just wanted to highlight that for you. Please continue. I think that's great, Catherine. Thank you for sharing that. Continue on, please.
Okay, thank you so much. So during that workshop, I was be given 3,001 reusable sanitary pads. Then I came back with the package. Then I started with that package to distribute to the girls. And before giving those pads to girls, I bring this education to them about the menstruation, how to take care during their period, the good way of washing their hands. So they're all about hygiene education and taking care of those reusable sanitary pads. So after giving this pad to them, when they get back home, what I realized that many students around the village, they come to me and ask me, Madam, can you assist us? Can you assist us? So I find that by giving 301 students the piece of a bag with 8 pieces of pad, bring the awareness to more than 5,000 girls around the district.
Wow.
So when they come back to me for that time, I don't have any more. So I was thinking myself, how should I continue helping this girl if this is a real challenge to them? Because I feel that if they didn't come to my side, that would not be the challenge. But after saw the big number of the students from different schools, they're asking their fellows, where do you get these bags of pads? And they get the information that they get from me. They take their time to come to my school and ask for that assistance. So I feel that I need to focus more and to find the way we can support girls, because we feel that that is a big challenge for them. That's why I started to think how we can sew our own reusable sanitary pads. And from that time, after realizing this is a great challenge, we started to move. I didn't do it myself. I tried to invite other teachers in my school. And we decided to move in one school to another, giving this education of hygiene and menstrual management to the number of the girls. When I did this education to them, I realized also boys, they face the challenges.
Okay.
Yes, we find that we're talking about only menstrual management, then we give gift to girls, but boys, they feel that they are not included in the community. They feel very lonely. So what I was thinking is that these boys also, they are facing the challenges, especially during the adolescent stage. Most of them, they are dropping out of a school. Yes, girls can drop out of the school because of the menstrual hygiene. They don't have these reusable sanitary pads. But these boys, they drop out of a school because they failed to make the good decision of their studies. Then I realized by starting educating them about life skill education, this will be the great help for them. So I established a class of teaching boys and girls together about life skill education and menstrual hygiene education. So I started to teach life skill education for both. And when I reached the position of teaching about menstrual hygiene, I was separating boys and girls separately. But when I go on finding now, if boys, they didn't know what is menstruation is, and we are teaching them about reproduction, and we find that they are the one who caused the early pregnancy, who to be blamed? So I decided again to bring back boys together. So my class now, I combine boys and girls together to understand their reproduction system, to understand how the body changes is taking place. And once we are discussing the challenges that girls they are facing during their period, boys, they realize that they didn't know any challenges that girls they are facing. Wow. They give their witnesses that even sometimes at home, when their parents give more money to girls, they blaming that they're not loved by their parents. But when we taught them that girls, they need more attention, that they need more pocket money to help them to buy those products every month. So do you think that your sister to have more money, is that a bad thing? They said that before that we didn't know that. So by helping boys to understand the challenges girls they are facing during their period, that is a great vision for them. As we know, they are going to be the good fathers of tomorrow, that they can help even their daughters during their period. Because the issue of the period here in Tanzania context is a taboo. No one is ready to speak about it. And the woman, the mother is the one who is supposed to keep the secrets of the girls. And sometimes when they don't have the good economy to support girls, is when girls now, they can use unhygienic products. And if they feel that unhygienic product is not good for them, they can even sell their body to the rough boys so that they can get money to support them during their period. So by providing this awareness to girls and boys, we find that we break that taboos, starting with the school students, then we move to the parents, to the community, and helping them to understand that the issue of menstruation is not only for female, is for both. Yes. Men and the women. And now, at least we can say that we can say that we have the percentage of the community, which now is understanding these challenges and how they can support in each other.
Well, Catherine, that is amazing. I'm going to come back to the question about taboo in just a minute to ask if what were some of the challenges that you faced when you started this program. If it's taboo in the community, did you get other teachers that said no, you can't talk about this, or maybe families that said no, you can't talk about it? I'll come back to that in a minute, but I just want to highlight that here you started a club, a speaking club, because you wanted to give more opportunity for your students. And then in that process, you realized that the girls weren't taking advantage of it and they were leaving. And so you dug a little further and you found out, well, this is an issue. And so you started educating yourself. You went to a workshop, you supplied the basics, but then the basics grew to education. And then the education was not just about the girls and what they were facing and what, how they could get through the taboo in the community. But you also realized the boys needed some life skills as well. And so it expanded to that. All of a sudden you are doing something way beyond just providing English language. You're speaking to the whole community and providing better resources so that the better families, better communities, better society. And that I just want to commend you for that. I think that is amazing how that story grew from I need to provide more English engagement opportunities for my students to now I've got the whole community addressing the taboo issue and then we're providing life skills. Wow, it just grew like that. But I think that is an amazing story. But one quick before we leave, did you face any challenges from your school, from other teachers, from the community? Because you said this was a taboo subject. So how did you face any challenges and how did you overcome those challenges?
Yes. Yeah, when I was started this project, yes, it's true that I faced the challenges because with my staff, my teachers, my fellow teachers, they didn't know exactly what I'm supposed to do or what I'm doing for that time. So I started to educate them slowly. And what was shocked them is if I can make a cloth, I can arrange a cloth and make it and give it to someone, and the place that cloth is going to be settled is very personal. So by holding that like a painting, holding in front of others, is for my fellow teachers somehow is like a shock. They feel that it is not good to be shown a thing like that, and they didn't count as the normal clothes for them. So I started to make it very slowly by starting with the number of the students that I thought that is the 301. And when I received another class, I continue with years after years, making them to understand the panting clause is a normal clause like other clauses. It is there, it's supposed to be there because it's the one which helping us to be healthy and to maintain our hygiene. So by providing this education to the teachers, they find, yes, this now is a good thing. Now we need to talk about this. And to the community also is a challenge because they don't like to hear anything about this. They feel that menstruation is only for women, and normally who they're supposed to talk with their girls or with their daughters, that was being left to the side of the mothers and sisters and aunties. So sometimes when it comes to the time that fathers are supposed to engage in this talking, they say that no, that is not our duty. That is the mother's duty. Or you need to go to your auntie to have that education. And I say that when I get the platform to speak about this, I was being able to talk with both boys and men together. And I asked them one question that when you say that menstruation is for women only, can you think who is making food for you? They said that my wife is the one who made food for me. So I said that if your wife is making food for you and you don't have the proper thing that they can use during their menstruation, And sometimes they don't have enough water at home. And she didn't be able to wash her hands when preparing food for you. Are you not eating menstruation?
Ooh.
They say, yes, I can eat that one. So I said that, who is supposed to make sure that in the family there is enough water? Who is supposed to know that in the family, your wife or your daughter have the proper things to use during their period? They say, I'm the one who's supposed to know that. So I said, how can you separate from menstruation to understand what is menstruation mean? They said that there is no way to be separated from that. So I continue bring this education by connection with the starting point. Menstruation is the starting point of the bringing generation to the society. So they understand this is a normal thing. If I menstruate is because I'm a woman. And once you boy also, you are growing and there are some changes which can happen to you. But because you are boy, you can undergo menstruation, but you undergo other changes, which sometimes can make you to feel different from female. So as boys their growth is the same as girls also their growth. So I bring this idea to be as a normal idea to them. That is what I did.
Well, I think that's wonderful, Catherine, and I commend you. I'm curious, has it, you started in one school, has it grown to other schools, other communities? I mean, throughout Tanzania, have you been able to communicate this to other professionals, other educators? Has it grown beyond the school? How big, how many communities have you impacted?
I started this idea since 2016, and up to this moment, not 2011, and
Wow.
up to this moment, I've been able to reach more than 10,000 schools in my
10,000
Kilimanjaro
schools.
district. Yes,
10,000 schools,
10,000
not
schools.
students,
Yes,
schools.
yes.
Wow.
I reached this by education and by providing these reusable sanitary pads is almost, I can say that 5,000 girls has been benefited with these reusable sanitary pads.
That is amazing. That is a testament to what you are doing as an advocate for your community, and it all started when you saw a need for public speaking, for support for English language, and it just grew from there. And what I love about this, Catherine, is that you kept your eyes open to the needs of your students, the needs of your community, the needs of what's going on around there. You didn't come into your classroom and said, okay, I'm going to teach my English and then I'm going to go home. You looked and said, you looked at your learners and said, they have a need, and I can bring in a resource and help that. And then when you did that, you found another need, and it grew and it grew. And just something amazing and beautiful that you're doing there for your community, and just to reach 10,000 schools across that is amazing. So I want to thank you, Catherine, for sharing that story. I know that it's you get to hear that, it's wonderful. We can hear and connect with people from all over the world. And so what I want to share real quick, because I realized I didn't a minute ago, I'm going to share our contact information. So if someone wants to get in contact with you, this is Catherine's email address right here on the screen. So please feel free to reach out to learn more about the project, or if you just want to ask, say, hey, I found a need in my own community and I want to help my learners, but I don't know how to get started. And I know you did a wonderful thing in Tanzania. I'd like to learn a little bit more about the specifics. How did you get organized? How did you do this? How did you bring other teachers in? How did you have that first conversation with the mother and father? Those are questions I'm sure that people and listeners here would have. So feel free, please, to reach out to Catherine, learn more about what she's doing, the wonderful work, not just what Catherine's doing, but all of the wonderful people at TELTA in Tanzania, and working to help support learners, support families, support communities, and their own advocacy and lifting up their voices. So I I encourage you to reach out. Again, that's if you don't have it on there, it's Catherine, CATHERINENJAU 10 gmail.com. So please feel free to reach out to her. I'm sure she'll be happy to share WhatsApp with you because I know sometimes that's a little bit easier there. But reach out and feel free to reach out to me too. I would love to hear from you about your stories. And speaking of which, when we talk about your stories, I don't know, where you're coming in and listening to this session today, whatever corner of the world you're in. But I encourage you. I'm going to share with you just a second. Here we go. I'm going to go back to these slides here. I would love to hear from you. And I say I, not just I, we. Catherine would love to hear. TESOL would love to hear. Other educators would love to hear from all over the world. What is it that you are doing for advocacy? And then this could be advocacy. Maybe you haven't reached 10,000 schools. I don't think I've reached 10,000 schools, Catherine. I think that's amazing that you've reached that many. Don't worry about how big. Don't worry about how small. Don't worry about the reach. It could just be advocacy that you have done for yourself. Because remember, in this story, Catherine did advocacy for herself too, because she went to a workshop to educate herself so she could be better prepared to help others. And that's all part of the advocacy story. So I would encourage you, please. This is the QR code. We also have down here a link that you can go directly to that site. It's just a few questions. Share your story, because we're going to be looking at these, and from time to time, TESOL International would love to share these stories out, just like we're doing here with Catherine's story at Telta and what she is doing. So I just want to say thank you for Catherine, to you, for your advocacy. I want to say thank you to anyone who's listening, to everyone who's listening about your advocacy, because at the heart of an educator, especially an English language teacher, it really is advocacy. It's making sure your students have the resources they need, making sure their families get access to the community. It could be health, it could be language, it could be finance, it could be transportation, it could be work. Just making sure that you're out there lifting up the voice. And always, as Catherine so eloquently talked about, she kept her eyes open, looking for the needs. Where is it that I can help? What's going on? What is the impact here? How can we make a difference and support everyone else and support ourselves in the process? So I want to say that just a thank you to everyone for that. And Catherine, I'm going to leave the last words for you. I'm going to stop the screen share here, and I just want to say any last words, any last thoughts that you would like to leave for educators, attendees, out there that are listening, that they're facing some needs and looking at things and saying maybe they don't know what to do. What are some last words that you would have? Last words of encouragement for everyone.
Thanks so much, Jeff. The last word which I want to leave to my fellow professional teachers is that as you are being given a chance to educate the society, you are being given a time to educate learners. Don't base to the only age that you are working with. If you are working in a secondary school, you need to expand your scope to different levels, because you are educators. You are the one to educate the whole society. You are being given that ability of educating, and don't stay in a room of only 4 angles. You need to get out of that so that you can see other people who they need, and they love to hear the education that you have. And the last thing which I want to say is that you don't need to do the big thing. Don't focus of doing the great things or to do the big things. You can start doing the small thing, but with your great passion and your great love. That is my word which I want to leave with you.
I love that, Catherine. Thank you so much. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you from all of TESOL. Thank you for what you are doing in Tanzania. Thank you for sharing your story today. So with that, I just want to encourage everyone, and I will echo the words, you don't have to be big, it can be small, but bring that passion and look for those needs and be an advocate out there. So thank you, everyone, for joining us for this time.
Thanks so much, Jeff.